What up? What up? What up? What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Rich back in the building. Real Talk with Rich is here. We out here. We in the building. Shout out to everybody that's joining us on tonight. What's going on? It's you and yours in the building. Let me get this light up just a little bit. Hope everybody's doing all right tonight. Hope you guys have a great weekend and getting ready to get the week started with your boy. So first, I want to shout out to Black Comic Lords and Black Superheroes Forever fam. And we're gonna get into this thing. Shout out to everybody that's joining us. What up, 1 in 100 podcast. My man Amir. What's good? Gordon, what's happening with you? Pericles, always is a pleasure. And yeah, man, we got some things to talk about tonight. Might get a little heated. I brought my water just in case. But anyway, let's get to it. So, first, we're gonna get to low hanging fruit, which is a segment of our show where we talk about the news, things of that nature. So first news, this has been in the news for a few days. So Mahershala Ali gives a hopeful update, MCU Blade movie update after troubling BTS reports. He says, I'm sincerely encouraged. So following numerous creative problems with the reboot, Blade star Mahershala Ali breaks his silence on the upcoming Marvel Cinematic Universe movie. The Blade reboot is moving forward, and Mahershala Ali gives an update about his Marvel Cinematic Universe movie. It has almost been half a decade since it was announced that Ali would play Blade in the MCU after having played Cornell Stokes in Luke Cage. Despite being one of the biggest surprises at San Diego Comic-Con in 2019, Ali's Blade film has faced multiple hurdles along the way, and the principal photography is yet to begin. In a new interview with EW, Ali finally broke his silence after reported creative issues behind the scenes on the Blade movie. Even though he couldn't give any spoilers or specific plot details, Ali stressed that they will be back at it relatively soon, while also praising the new direction with who's on board and who's leading the way. As he gave up the following update, we're working on it. That's the best I could tell you. I'm really encouraged with the direction of the project, and I think we'll be back at it relatively soon. I am sincerely encouraged in terms of where things are at and who's on board and who's leading the way as far as writing of the script and the directing and all that. So that's the extent of what I can tell you. Thanks, Ali. Appreciate that. Tell us something we didn't know. Listen, the fact that they have Wesley Snipes as picture up as Blade in this article tells you all you need to know, Screen Rant, that, movie's happening. But as to when and how and whatnot, they're not going to tell us anything. But I'm glad that Ali felt confident enough to finally speak about what's been really going on. He's not going to address specifics, talking about the script or talking about the direction that they're going, but he's positive. So that's cool. I think they should just really scrap the whole 9 yards, but they're not going to do that. Too much money has been spent, and I'm pretty sure Ali has probably spent an MCU check or two already. So he's still hanging in there, guys. So we got to give that guy credit for patience. So Blade coming to you real soon, I guess. Whatever, Monty. So yeah, that's what's going on with that. Next article is the Games Radar article. Marvel Black History Month variant spotlight Captain America, Luke Cage, Rocket Racer, and more. Now, I don't know why they put Rocket Racer in this article or whatever, but I guess. So anyway, Marvel is celebrating Black History Month with a series of covers by Black artists featuring Black characters. Marvel Comics is showing up its Black History Month celebration for February 2024 with a new selection of variant covers featuring Black heroes from across the Marvel Universe and drawn by Black artists. Marvel is now showing off a selection of several Black History Month covers featuring A-list heroes such as Luke Cage, Sam Wilson, Captain America, as well as several lesser-known heroes like Rocket Racer and the still unnamed hypothetical sidekick for Black Panther. Yeah, later about that. Marvel also promises to more covers to be revealed, featuring Miles Morales and Rocket Racer's fellow skateboarder Night Thrasher. The last hero is particularly interesting, having debuted as part of Marvel's New Champions series of variant covers. The unnamed Wakandan hero was created as the theoretical sidekick for Black Panther to fit in the theme of emerging teen legacy heroes. What's most intriguing is the one hero from the crop of New Champions variants. Milestone has now made into official continuity of one of the lead characters, Peach Momoko's upcoming Ultimate X-Men run. So here's the breakdown. February 7th, Captain America, issue number 6 by Mateus Mahanini. Fantastic Four 17 by Hernanda Souza. February 14th, Black Panther number 9 by Dutan Akande. Miles Morales, Spider-Man number 6 by Torrin Clark. Night Thrasher number 1, Black History variant cover by Davey Go. February 28th, Amazing Spider-Man number 44 by Karen Dobek. This February, the Black creators and heroes will take center stage in Black History Month's variant covers drawn by some of the industry's most talented artists. These stunning depictions of your favorite Marvel characters will grace select issues throughout the entire month, reads Marvel's official announcement. So, these are some of the books that y'all probably want to go get. I'm probably going to pass on most of them. As Kanye West would say, Marvel, baby, you got to do better. But, yeah. So, that's what y'all got to look forward to, you know. Yeah, that's all I'm going to say. Black History Month. Yeah, that was a little shade, just a little shade. But anywho, yeah, that's what's coming next. Bleeding Cool has an article. Speaking of covers, they just covered it in the Black Panther's New Champion sidekicks make second cover appearance. One of the first of the New Champion sidekick covers was for Black Panther number 5, with this cover by Hernanda Souza. In October, spinning out of the surprise success that Marvel had with Spider-Boy, created by Dan Slott and Humberto Ramos as Spider-Man's long-lost sidekick, Marvel Comics ran a month-wide variant cover program featuring the first appearances of lots of other superhero long-lost sidekicks created for this cover and counting well as their first appearance, even if it was never to be used again. Well, one of the first was Black Panther number 5, with this cover by Ananda Suze, featuring a magic-wielding Wakandan. That is her name. We don't know her name. She's an unnamed character. Last article we just went over said she's an unnamed character. And this article describes her simply as a magic-wielding Wakandan. You can't make this up. What's going on with Marvel, man? What's really going on? But yeah, so you guys can go to the stores and y'all pick that up. You know what I'm saying? So after Black Panther's battle with Deathlock, tensions are high and burning T'Chaka as strife between the ruling crime families threaten to escalate into a full-fledged gang war. Can T'Challa restore peace in the city before it's too late? And what are the whispers of this evil spirit, Kivu Ma? Who is the gray wolf that curses Wakanda? Now, that was Black Panther issue number 5. Now, the character is coming back for Black Panther issue number 9. That's the Black History cover by Dutan Akande. It says in the description, between Baba Nakusa and Claudia St. Croix teaming up, tensions being higher ever among burning T'Chaka's crime families and the vengeful spirit known as the Grey Wolf on the prowl. Black Panther will need to gather all his allies from Shuri to Bisa in order to keep the city from being torn asunder. And I guess she will make her comic book debut, maybe in that issue. I don't know. We just know that she'll be on the cover of Black History Month, and that's the cover that is going out with solicits. So, yeah, guys. Shout out to Marvel for doing their thing. Let's keep going. So, Bleeding Cool has an article. Marvel removes comics over racial concerns from the Predator omnibus. All right, guys, this is pretty interesting. Marvel Comics is making the Predator the Original Years Omnibus Volume 2 to be published in March, returnable after removing content. Marvel Comics is making Predator the Original Years Omnibus to be published in March, returnable after removing solicited content, making it smaller than advertised. The volumes reprinting the Dark Horse comic Predator stories over the years have seen the removal of Predator, Hell Come a Walking, number 1 and 2 from 1998, and a short story from Dark Horse Presents 137 in 1986. This has reduced the page count from 1,048 pages to 992. Why? Because returnability isn't cheap, especially when it comes to oversized hardcover omnibus volumes. But the stories that have been removed, one can draw certain conclusions. Predator Hell Come Walking by renowned horror writer Nancy Collins and Black Hammer artist Dean Armstead, set in 1863 in the American Civil War, a time of racial strife and home to a number of scenes such as these, what you're looking at there on screen. As the solicitant says, during this American Civil War, Confederates and Union soldiers are united by a common enemy. So I guess it's one of those, the enemy of my enemy is my friend type deals. So while Dark Horse Presents issue 137 has the Predator story Demon's Goal by Ron Mars and Claudio Castellanini, which as far as I can tell, Nazis. So these particular stories necessarily, or this particular story, isn't having offensive attitudes expressed toward any quote unquote racial group, but having Nazis in full regalia as the bad guys. And basically, if you remember Indiana Jones, it's kind of that level, okay? So what they're doing is that they're removing the imagery of Nazis, you know, because they want to sell this book in Germany. And so swastikas in Germany are outlawed. So that's one of the reasons why they're doing it. Also, the American Civil War story seems to come down to one use of the word darky and two uses of the word negra throughout all positive or defendable in some way Confederate views regarding Black people. Both stories would have been approved by Fox at the time, but now Disney owns Fox and Marvel, making this omnibus possible. Different choices are being made, and at last minute, you know, it is what it is, guys. So basically, in a nutshell, if you are a Predator fan and you wanted to say buy a omnibus, the omnibus originally was going to be 1,048 pages. It's been reduced to 992 because they removed the Nazi imagery or the Nazi story out, and the American Civil War story, you know, they removed that out as well. The thought is, okay, we don't want these images and we don't want these words to be used, even though all of this has been a part of history, you know. But people don't want to follow history anymore. They want to believe what they want to believe. They want to do what they want to do. They want to think the way they want to think, and they don't want nobody. No one wants to be accountable for the original sin of America, which is racism and slavery. But you know, that's the times we live in. You know, years ago when they were talking about reprinting the Captain Marvel cover that had what's the name of the character? Steamboat, I think it is. They decided not to do it because they felt like it was offensive, but it was part of DC's history. So it's like, why are you trying to hide what you originally was doing? Don't hide. Be honest with it. If you're ashamed, then you know, print out a letter or some, a disclaimer or something saying that, you know, these were the times and therefore we don't feel this way anymore, but this is our history. Embrace it. Can't run from it. History is history. But, you know, that's the way it goes, though. So for all you Predator fans, yeah, good luck with that. That omnibus is probably going to be over $150, $125, $150. So yeah, just go see the movies. You'll be all right. Next, next we have a Spider-Punk article. Did you guys know? What's going on, Sierra? Did you guys know that Spider-Punk was nearly cut from Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse? This Tornado article says that Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse introduced a slew of web-slinging variants only for this past summer Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse to massively up the ante. Spider-Man India, Spider-Woman, Spider-Punk were among the new heroes we met in the sequel, but the latter, talking about Spider-Punk, was nearly left off the cutting room floor. Talking to Total Film co-director Joaquin Dos Santos, revealed that Daniel Kaluuya's wall crawling wasn't always going to go his way into Spider Society. It's funny that he had to earn his way into the film. He almost got cut out of the movie, the filmmaker explains. There were versions of the Spider Society he wasn't involved in, but the scene suffered from him not being in it. It became really elevated when he joined. Shout out to Daniel Kaluuya's portrayal. He contributed to letting this all that character being on screen. His fellow director Kemp Powers chimed in and revealed how happy he is to see how fans been seeing how happy he is been to see fans embrace Hobie Brown. It was so gratifying for him to be such a hit. When information was leaking out about the movie, many people were asking online where their favorites like Spider-Man Noir. We were like, oh, come on, you got to trust us. You're going to love the new characters. But fans came back saying that they wouldn't. But hey, look what happened. So here's the thing, though, okay? There's been a lot of chatter about spinoffs about this coming Spider-Verse trilogy with only a female-led semi-effort semi-confirmed at this stage. Asked whether Spider-Punk will ever get to take center stage in a project of his own, Justin K. Thompson responded saying, while making this movie, we wanted to ensure that all the characters and dimensions they could come from could open up. Honestly, it was like making 6 films. We invested as much into each of them as so they could stand alone if needed. We wanted to give audiences a true sense that they were visiting something as fleshed out as a separate movie. We were geeking out while making it how rad it would be to work on an entire film set in just one of these dimensions. We heard fans say that they want a Spider-Punk series or a Spider-Gwen short, and I'd love to see a Pive short. Many of these movies have not been proven to be an easy experience for Sony Pictures, and Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse was reportedly besieged by issues behind the scenes due to long working hours and constant changes to the story. Given the franchise's unique animations, any spinoff will take a long time to develop, so patience will be key when it comes to seeing this Spider-Verse expand. So stay tuned for updates as we have them. So, H&A says they actually animated Spider-Punk with a different frame rate from the rest of the characters. I mean, basically, that kind of confirms what the guy said. You know, basically make all of these different iterations of the character into one movie. It's weird, though, because Spider-Punk winds up being the quote-unquote scene stealer. And they were really going to try to cut this dude out the movie. Now, don't get me wrong. I think it would have been a good movie, but the reason why it was a great movie was because of this guy, Hobie Brown. But, you know, that's kind of how it goes. That's kind of how it goes, man. I don't know, guys. That's kind of weird to me. You know, the most popular character in that surprise character, whatever, and they all of a sudden, we don't think we need him for this film. Really? How'd y'all come up with that? Oh, shout out to Daniel Kaluuya for doing a great portrayal. He pulled it off, and Spider-Punk looks like very authentic. And hopefully we will get to see Hobie Brown again on screen. Definitely in the sequel that's coming out pretty soon. Looking forward to that. So with that said, guys, we're going to run a promo. We recently interviewed the great Tim Fielder about Infinitum. And so we're going to run a quick promo. We'll be right back, and we'll talk about some books that I've read this week. And we'll get into some other stuff. Stay tuned.
Hello. Tim Fielder here, author of Matty's Rocket, Infinitum and Afrofuturist Tale, and the graphic history of hip-hop. I'm a visual Afrofuturist and graphic novelist. Buy my books. Go to Diesel Funk, at Diesel Funk on all social media handles. I need you to buy my books. Thank you, Black Comic Lords. Peace.
Yo, so shout out to Tim Field doing the doggone thing. So yeah, um, go back and check out that interview, man. That interview was pretty cool, bro. They talked about a lot of stuff on that, and yeah. And if you have not picked up Infinitum or Matty's Rocket, I encourage you to do so. We're gonna talk about Matty Rocket in a minute. First thing we're gonna talk about though is some of the books that I read this week. A couple of books, and we'll get into a graphic novel as well. First book up though is Catfight. All right. Now, this is Catfight issue number 5. Catfight just ended. This was an amazing run. It's about cat burglars. The protagonist is a black guy who is basically traveling the globe trying to save his grandmother. And yeah, it's an espionage intrigue story. It was written by Andrew Wheeler and the art by Elias Kouraisis, inks by Augustus Kanakis, and colors by Dennis Yatras. Letters by Hassan Ostamini El Haouf. I know I butchered your name, but yeah. So anyway, if you have not picked up Catfight, I encourage you to go get the trade when it comes out. I think you'll enjoy this particular story. It's different. It's independent book put out by IDW. And like I said, it's about cat burglars. And, it's just a little something. If you like, superhero stuff is cool. It's great, but every now and then you got to get away from the superhero stuff, the capes and cows stuff, and just get into a mystery, get into an intriguing story. And like I said, this is about cat burglars. There is a precious ruby that everybody's trying to find. This thing is priceless. And my man has basically got to get this ruby before they kill his grandmother. And like I said, Catfight was an amazing read. Like I said, just wrapped up. I'm pretty sure that the trade will be out probably in a couple of months or so. So look forward to that. Go read that. If you did not read Catfight, go check that out. Yeah. All right. So next book we want to look at is the Titans Beast Rising, Beast World Wall of Rising. This one shot was pretty cool. Written by Chuck Brown. Yeah, this was pretty amazing. And guys, this is kind of sad that this is a one shot. Because it was that good. Art was amazing. I know a lot of people check for the other cover, the B cover, but I do like the A cover because the A cover has my man Black Panther featured right there on the front. Yeah, that is a pretty good story. Gotta say, you know what I'm saying? New character, Deadeye is his name. I don't know why would they call him Deadeye, and he's supposed to be Amanda Waller's nephew. But this is an intriguing story, guys. You guys go pick this up. Now, Beast World is actually a crossover event that's going on in DC right now. Beast Boy has something's going on with his molecules. They kind of infecting everywhere that they go. But this story here is pretty much a black story. Yeah, I'm looking through it. There are no white people in this book. Chuck Brown, yes, sir, absolutely. There are no white people in this book. This is a black book for real. This is a black book for real. Now, it's not Black Panther 24 level, but it's definitely comparable. It's definitely comparable. But yeah, it's a lot. Nubia's in here, Valzad's in here, of course Amanda Waller's in here, Black Man is in here, and Vixen is. It's a pretty cool book, and it ends with kind of hope perhaps for the future at some time. So yes, Chuck Brown was the writer and Karen Grant was the artist. Yes. So yeah, And again, it's like I said earlier, man, go get this up because there are no white people in this book. I'm gonna stop that. I shouldn't be so petty. God, anyway. So yeah, man, those are the couple books I picked up. I read some other stuff too, but those are the two books I wanted to talk about, man. If you go get Titans, and if you can go get the back issues for if you go get the back issues for Catfight, go ahead and pick those up too. But yeah, man, go pick that up. That's we don't have a lot of black books today. That's a black book. That's black on black on black on black. That's a black book for real. Shout out to Titans, Beast World, Waller Rising. Yeah. And Amanda Waller, she is who she is. So yes, graphic novel I want to talk about real quick. Want to prop up. We just saw my man Tim Fielder advertising about Matty's Rocket. Matty's Rocket by Tim Fielder is a great, great graphic novel. Beautiful art, man. Love the story. It is pretty amazing. And very inspirational. This book covers the story of Matty Waddy. I think that's her name. And she is basically has a desire to be a pilot, a rocket pilot. And so she goes through different things in her life to make her dream come true. And it's just a very, very inspirational story. And Steph Curry, the book that I got has a label on it. You know, this is Steph Curry has a book club called Underrated, and he basically in my copy of the book has a little card on the inside talking about this book. And this is a book that he encourages people to buy. So if you love the chef Steph Curry, and Steph Curry loves writing and books and that kind of thing, he makes a recommendation for this book as well as I do. So yeah, man, go pick up Tim Fielder's Matty's Rocket. You'll enjoy it. I promise you. Promise. Very happy your daughter liked the book. Oh, well, no, I didn't give it for my daughter. I got the book for me, sir. I didn't give my daughter nothing. I read this book for myself. But I may give her a copy of the book. I and it's funny too. I think I told a story. Down in Houston, you talking about H&H. Good. Y'all having a conversation. Pay me no mind. Senior moment. So yeah. Matty's Rocket would not exist without Steph's involvement. Oh, that's what's up. That's what's up. Shout out to the chef. So yeah, man, I enjoyed it. It was a very, very entertaining book. Man, oh man. Where was you at when I was a kid growing up? See, this kind of stuff that we need. Our children and stuff, man, they so blessed. They got so much stuff out here. It's just ridiculous. The amount of books and Afrofuturism that's out here today, man. I kind of wish I was a kid. Some of this stuff is just amazing, So yeah, no man, all good. Yeah, that's what's up. So but yeah. I appreciate Tim Fielder being here. Salute to the king, doing his thing with Diesel Funk for sure. But I was down in Houston, and it's weird. I guess I can talk about this a little bit. I was down in Houston, and I told the story, I think, I don't know if it was last week or week before last, but I was down in Houston at Gulf Coast Cosmos. It's the only black-owned comic shop in Texas. It's down in Houston from where I'm from. And so I was there just hanging out, buying some stuff or whatever, right? And they have Infinitum for sale. And so I bought a dude that was in the shop just looking for something to read. I bought him the book. I bought him Infinitum. I just bought it on the strength of that I wanted him to read. I love that book so much. And that's how you know that you really love something, when you're willing to pay for the product and give it to somebody just on the strength of, man, if you love this kind of stuff, you're going to really dig this. And so about a week ago, I guess, Byron at the shop reached out. He reached out and he said, hey, He heard that Tim Fiddler was going to be down in Houston. Can somebody get him, let him know that I want him to come by the shop. So I just hit my man Derek up in the background, and they were able to make the connection. And so even though he wasn't able to be there at this time, I think he's going to be back there in March. I believe that's how the conversation went. But yeah, man. So we out here working, doing things. Say the name of the shop, OG. I may need to take a trip. Gulf Coast Cosmos, over in Midtown. Gulf Coast Cosmos. So yeah. Yes. So yeah. Y'all, if you ever in the Houston area, go check out their shop. My man has all the Black independent stuff. You will not be disappointed. It's a little shop over in Midtown, 3rd Ward. But he does a lot of community work, and Byron is out there working. So yeah, that's what's up. He said, I'm giving him a call tomorrow that shop. Hope it goes well. Yeah. You know what? Here's the thing. Millennial, I mean, man, I sent that information. We got to talk. The shop doesn't open up until like Wednesdays. I think the beginning of his work week is like Wednesdays through Sunday, I want to say. So, but yeah, we've been talking, bro. We working. We out here working. Whew. So much going on. Shout out to my man. Shout out to my man, Millennial Comics. Delta Dollars in the building. Rosetta Reed says, my grandson is 8, so is interested in drawing. That's what's up. It's amazing what you guys are doing. Super amazing. Well, we give the Lord praise. It is, we just some cats that love comics and Black creators and Black content. That's the biggest thing. Love everything, but you know what I'm saying, ain't nothing like your own stuff. So yeah, appreciate the love. So yeah. So with that said, it's time to go down the rabbit hole. Ladies and gentlemen, these internet streets, it gets bloody in these streets sometimes. It gets real gully in these internet streets sometimes. So if you are connected to comics in any kind of way, you have probably heard or even seen this story in Black Comic Lords. I think Paul put it up. So basically, a comic book store owner is going viral for his comments that modern writers don't actually love superheroes. How dare he? Comic book store owner Glenn O'Leary, who owns the Comic Book Palace in Massachusetts, is drawing a line in the sand when it comes to modern comic books and stories and writers. A clip from the latest episode of the Comic Book Palace Reborn podcast is going viral, where Glenn discusses his belief that the modern comic book writers don't love the characters as much as old school writers. He asserts that modern writers do not care about the established personalities, character traits of classic superheroes, and instead want to place themselves under the mask. Most of these new writers don't have a love for comics that these old writers had. And all they care about is, how can I put myself in the book? But we don't care what you would do if you were Iron Man. We don't care who you are. You're writing Tony Stark. You're not writing yourself in a book. He says, if this the case, write your own comic with you in it. No one would read it because nobody cares. Boy, the shade. People grew up loving Peter Parker, loving Miles Morales, loving Captain America. We don't need you to put your input in. Just write Steve Rogers. Don't write what will Steve Rogers be if I was Steve Rogers. That's not how it works. But that's how most of the news people write nowadays. That's why most of the stuff is ish. We don't care about what you would do. We don't care about your life whatsoever. Just write a book, get paid for what you're supposed to be doing, and make it a good story. Yeah. Listen. Okay. Before I get to that, let me go with my man Diesel Tim Field. It says, you guys were hunting for me. I was down to work for Dr. Tanisha Taylor's outfit, the Center for Africana Futures at Texas Southern. I literally left on Wednesday at 5 a.m. I'll be back in March. Yeah. That's what's up. I'm gonna try to get down there too, man, to meet you in person if I can. It would be my honor, sir. So anyway, okay, let's let's unpack some of this here. Okay. Words, only words. Shall we believe his words? No. I'll say this. That, first of all, as somebody who's been reading comic books since I was about 7, 8 years old, these characters have been written a certain way by certain people. Now, I understand as an old head, I understand that there are things that there are writers that I enjoy from back in the day. And I'll be honest with you, the biggest gripes that I have more than anything is the level of content. And what I mean by that is there was a time when you had to sit with a comic book. These books are so thin today that it's like, I mean, you spend $5 on a book and it literally takes you no more than 10 minutes to read it. I don't like that about the way comics, especially paying upwards to $5, $6 for a comic book. I don't like that at all. But to his point, there's something to what he said. Now here's the thing. If you are a writer and you've been tasked to write a story about a particular character, you write that story with the character in mind first. None of us can take liberties with, say, Peter Parker and make Peter Parker, an anti-hero, or make Peter Parker a jackbutt. We don't have, that's not who Peter Parker is. The premise of Peter Parker is with great power comes great responsibility. That in mind, don't mess with the character in regards to or inserting your own feelings about you in the character. That's what he's talking about. Now, some people might think he's talking about people that are gay. Listen, white straight guys have been guilty of this. Okay? This is not something that's germane to minorities or Black people or people from the LGBT community. No. White guys, there are some white guys that have tore up some characters because they want to put their beliefs or their thoughts into writing a story. So he's not wrong in terms of, you've been tasked to write a character a certain way, because guess what? If the trend of way things are going, right, it's not out the realm of possibility that one day you may have a white Black Panther. The way things are going in this world of inclusion and diversity and flexibility and all this stuff, that's not out the realm of possibility. Now, I'm being facetious when I say this, but the thing is, there's ways to say things. There's ways to express things, and nobody wants to hear the truth about the industry in regards to what's selling and what's not selling. This is Rosetta. Since I'm 62, I remember comics. Don't you think comics change over time? What was is not now. I agree 100% with that. I think though that the thing with comics though is, because when we bring people in to write, the art of writing a story, it's like, okay, I told this one time, I told this to a sister one time, and I told her, I said, look, you can write whatever it is you want to write, and you might want to make this character a certain way, but let that be the backdrop of your story. Don't let that be the foreground. If you're leading in with that, then, because your job as a writer is to get me vested into your character. How do I care about your character? Because when I'm reading something, right, the first thing I want to know is, can I identify with the character? Am I interested in the character? What intrigues me about the character? If the character is bland, then I'm not going to invest money or time into it. If the character is not someone I can identify with, then that's one thing too. Now, here's the deal. I said this a couple years ago. Marvel and DC are looking for their new market share. The straight white male is, they're not writing for them anymore. The times have changed. They're looking for a new market share. Old comic heads are dying off. They're thinking about the next 20, 30 years. They're not thinking about they're not thinking about the 50, 60-year-old white guy. They're not. And, business wise, it makes sense, right? So what has happened though is you have a large market share who feels neglected, which is funny to me because I had a conversation with a white guy at a comic shop, and we were talking, and he was saying that how people want the same characters. But the problem is when they get the same characters, they complain about the character. It's like, okay, I want Kyle Rayner. I want Hal Jordan. I don't want, I don't want Jon Stewart. I want what I want. And, white guys, feel neglected. It is what it is. This fandom that we participate in it wasn't created for us. It wasn't it wasn't designed for us. The way it was written, the way it was, marketed, it was not created to us. But we didn't insert ourselves in it. What happened was they found out that little black kids like myself and maybe Rosetta read comics too. So we started seeing other characters. Now, Rosetta says, I want change, bring in their life so that character will always be a character. That once lived, don't you think? Make that clear. I think you clear that up. Now, Frustrated says, he says, the problem with injection their own lies is when another writer gets a book and they have to retcon a lot of stuff. That's a big problem. That's a big problem when it comes to continuity, because that's what's happening with a lot of characters. Somebody gets a book, right, and then they have to undo. Flash was one particular book that had, Lord, people were upset about the way I think it was Barry Allen was being written for years. And they had to recon a lot of stuff. That naturally happens, especially when you allow somebody to be on a book for an extended period of time. I will keep it close to home. John Ridley. I'm sorry I said his name, but I'm not a part of the cult of Boss, so I can say his name. But John Ridley did a Black Panther run. It was 15 issues. A lot of the fans of Black Panther did not like that run at all. And it was the way Ridley was writing Black Panther. And what was telling about Black Panther at the time was the way Black Panther was portrayed. He was supposed to be a monarch. He was supposed to be a king, but they were cussing the man out in his own comic book. They were insulting him. They were taking on Western ways in the book. That was showing through the thread of the story. And so a lot of people were not getting T'Challa as they normally would see him. And people had problems with it. Some people tried to say that it was progress, though, but clearly it wasn't, which is why he only got 15 issues. If people would have really loved that book would have kept going, but they only gave him 15 issues. Colts had 25 in the prior run to that. So again, if you're writing a story, you're supposed to write the story. And if you want to put some things in the story regarding how you feel, there's ways to do it. There's ways to do it. Dwayne McDuffie was a master at that. Dwayne McDuffie was a master at putting messages into stories without jacking up the characters. And Dwayne McDuffie wrote Justice League. He wrote all kind of different characters before we got to Milestone. But he, people could take a lot out of the book or the page out of Dwayne McDuffie when it comes to this, because Dwayne McDuffie was woke before there was such a word as woke, and people enjoyed Milestone books because they were written in such a way that, yes, we're in the story, but we're going to tell you this story. You're going to pick this up along the way. But what we have today is a lot of, unfortunately, I wouldn't call it wokeness. I would call it just people inserting their worldview into a character that may not traditionally hold that view. People did not like Coach's run on Captain America. Now, I'm not a Cap fan, so I don't have no skin in the game, but people thought that he took too many liberties with Captain America. Me, myself, I was happy of Sam Wilson just being Falcon. Somebody wanted to make him Captain America, though. It's a lot. It is what it is. Let me get to some of these comments before I go on, okay? Eric says, so they're not thinking about any 60-year-old being a character at all. Isn't there truth isn't there some truth in every story? Give me a character I can connect with. Every person wants that character. Yeah. Progress means usually regress. Who wants that type of character with 15 issues you talked? Nobody. Really is horrible on Black Panther. Western attitudes. Nemo's an ally. His mother didn't show up to the last issue. Yeah, that run wasn't good at all. Yeah. Yes, McDuffie is a man who masters storytelling. And that's all I'm saying as far as, Dwayne McDuffie goes, he was a master storyteller. He could write anything. Dwayne McDuffie did a Ultraman run. He did the DC character, the Demon. He did a 4-issue run on that. Dwayne McDuffie, matter of fact, has a 2-issue She-Hulk book. And it's good. Real good. And so, again, you can insert certain things into your characters, but when those things that you insert into the character take away from the core of who that character is, people are going to have a problem with it, regardless if they're white, black, or purple. If to his point, he said, if you're writing Tony Stark, then write about Tony Stark. And that's just if I'm buying an Iron Man book, I expect to see a story about Tony Stark. So how can you not put your worldview when it's your worldview? You can. Here's the thing, Rosetta. You can write your worldview, but your worldview cannot be the dominant thing that drives the story. It can't be. It's like Gotham. Take Batman, for example. People think that Batman is the biggest character in Batman. No, the biggest character in Batman is Gotham. Why Gotham? Because Gotham is a city full of drugs. It's a city full of criminals. It's a city full of, and Batman is just playing the background. Batman is just playing in the ground, I should say, of the story. He is the quote unquote protagonist, but Gotham is really the focus. Because what drives the city to continuously be evil, even though they got this crime fighter in the middle of it? So if you're going to put your worldview into comics or whatever, that's fine. However, if this character is drawn or purpose is to be a hero and not an anti-hero, then you should be true to that in which that character was written, not change that character. That's all I'm saying about it. I'm not saying it's perfect or whatever. We have to think about things like authorial intent. When a writer writes a story, right, he has an intent in which he is trying to get across a certain view. Because here's the thing. If a book is good, people are going to read it. That's facts. If your book is good, people are going to read it, regardless who writes it. People are going to read it if it's good. If it's not good, people are going to trash it. Now, I'm going to talk a little bit about modern books. Eric says McDuffie didn't beat people over the head with it. He interwove it massively within his story, very similar to how Chris Claremont did. Man, that story, God loves, man kills. the opening pages of that comic book are two black mutants being hunted and them being killed. And here's now it's a story about mutants being targeted, but Claremont put two young black mutants in the story at the very beginning to give you that nod. That's good storytelling. That's laying the Easter egg out there without having to crack it open. See, people today don't use Easter eggs no more. They just they don't use Easter eggs in modern writing today. It's like, okay, we're just going to just put everything out there. There's no room for me as the reader to think or to have a real perspective. And that's what I have a problem with, me myself personally. I am getting understand. Yeah. So Frustrated says, which is why when Batman is not in Gotham, those books never make sense. Batman Off-World makes no sense. You know, shout out, guess what? My LCS guy, I'm a Batman guy. My LCS guy put that in my box. I said, I don't want that. I don't want that. I'm not interested in Batman being on another planet. I'm just not. I need Batman in Gotham. When Batman fell from the moon, I left the run for a while. When Failsafe threw him off the moon, I'm like, what we doing? Some stuff gets too ridiculous. So when it comes to storytelling and that kind of thing, a lot of the books that we have today don't really have good stories in them. See, you know, I'm unfortunately, being an old guy and have read hundreds of comics books, I smell, you know, I passed the smell test. And so as somebody who loves good writing, you know, it's like, okay, I don't want to be pandered to. Like, for example, I just showed you this book here, Titans. Okay, this is a black comic book. It's filled with black characters. But I'm not pandered. Chuck Brown didn't pander. He didn't use any pandering whatsoever to write that book. That book is good because he told a story, and it just happened to have black people in it. And we got to stop scratching where we don't itch. And so, do I agree 100% agree with everything this guy said? No, I don't. But what I do agree with is that if you're going to tell a story, and people are paying you to tell the story, the customer is always right. I don't care how upsetting it may be. I don't care how jacked up it might be perceived to be. I think he used poor choice of words when he said that he don't care about nobody's life. I don't think you should tell nobody that. But people are sensitive, and I get the whole point. But the thing is, if I go to the shop and I pick up Batman, okay, I want to read a Batman comic. I don't want to read about Batman is struggling with his identity. That's the biggest thing about Batman. Batman know who he is. Batman know who he is. And because he know who he is, he's able to do what he does. But the minute he begins to second guess who he is, the minute that he begins to think that he's not worthy, the minute he begins to think that he can't accomplish the task, he stops being Batman. So we're living in this, and here's the thing. I want us to understand. There are literally hundreds of books on the comic book shelf every day. Hundreds of books. I might buy 3%, 2% of the books that are on the shelf. That's a very small thing. He says, aren't you trying to stay safe with that old Batman Gotham thing? Listen, the reason why I want Batman in Gotham is because it's a tried and true story. Can the character grow? Absolutely. But because again, that's just me. I'm that dude. I'm that dude that goes to the shop. You know what I'm saying? I need to see Batman throwing hands. I don't want Batman with an identity crisis. Like someone said in the chat, midlife crisis. No, I don't need that. I need Batman throwing hands. I need him going at the Joker's neck. I need him. I need him to be Batman. So when I'm reading a story, I'm enjoying the story for what it is. He has the best rogues gallery. I mean, I don't think no one has a better rogues gallery than Batman. Maybe Flash, but for the most part, Batman and Flash and Spider-Man got the best rogues gallery because villains drive story. That's the other thing too. If you're gonna write a story, I need the heroes to be heroes and I need the villains to be villains. I don't like this. You're gonna try to make the bad guy to sympathy with the devil. That does not work for me. He said he can move to the islands. Okay, Rosetta. But suffice to say, look, I'm the type of guy. If I like comics, if I want a guy, regardless of what story I'm reading, I want it to be entertaining. There are people that feel a certain type of way about the way comics are being written today. And I'll be honest, a lot of this stuff that's coming out today, I can't roll with it. So, right, that's classic Batman. That's what you want to see. Yeah, I want to see Batman in Gotham. I need to see. Listen, if heroes show up in Gotham, Batman ain't gonna get at him before the bad guys do. Batman, this is my city. Very territorial. I like my Bruce Wayne a little crazy. That's just me. It makes for a very entertaining story. Because me personally, I'm not looking for me as a black man that lives in America. I deal with a lot of stuff. I go through a lot of stuff. I see a lot of stuff, but I don't want to necessarily read that struggle in a comic book. Comics are supposed to be entertainment. And so if I'm going to be entertained, tell me a story that takes me away from the drama of real life. I think sometimes we miss that part. Comics have gotten so I'm not just talking about comic books in general, but the comic book community, the comic book fandom, a lot of it's toxic. And I do not like it at all because some days I just want to sit down and read a comic book. Some days I just want to chill. I don't need all of this stuff. Ugh. When people were going in on old boy, I thought that was unfortunate. I thought it was unfair because all he was really saying was his perspective. That's all he really was doing. He wasn't moving the needle. He wasn't saying nothing that a whole lot of folk hadn't already said. That YouTube is full of YouTubers who parrot what homeboy said. And that's how they make their money. That's how they roll. All kind. Can I really be mad at what he said? No. Not me personally. You know. Eric says most of the bad writing is in the big two. The indie scene has great stories now. Philadelphia, Basilisk, Vanish, Geiger, all the spawns. I'm loving indies right now. And see, that's my jam right there. I am a indie guy. I love Marvel and DC. Historically, I got plenty of long boxes of Marvel and DC. But I love the independent stuff. Philadelphia is my favorite comic book. So yeah, I totally hear you. Get me out of this world stuff. Just let me sit and be entertained. And that's all I really want sometimes. I mean, it's okay to like put some stuff in the comic book and have me, think about it, like, but no, take me out. Look, what's the fun in reading a comic book if all you're going to do is be mad when you put it down? What's the fun in reading a comic book if all you're going to be sitting around talking about is how terrible it is? Because that's the thing about, entertainment in general. People that are thoroughly entertained by something, they're going to tell people that when something is good, they're going to share it, that it's good. A lot of the stuff that's being out here, people are not sharing it. A lot of people, and see, you gotta also look at Homeboy's perspective. He's a comic book shop owner. Comic books are not, comic book shops cannot return books like they used to. There was a time in comics where if a comic book shop owner bought a number of books and they didn't sell, they would rip off the cover of the book and return it back to the manufacturer or back to the distributor, and they would get credit for it. That model has changed. Now, they don't get credit for books. Whatever they buy is what they are stuck with. So if you got 50 books of T. Franklin's Harley Quinn and Vixen, and only 5 people buy it, and you got 45 books just sitting in your shop, and nobody buys it, you eating that money. But if that book was good, it would sell. It's that simple. You have to do the numbers. Sometimes we get in our feelings about how people feel about us, and really it's about the numbers. A lot of books living in the South or whatever, a lot of books did not sell back in the day because white folks weren't checking for black superheroes. Not like that. That's just numbers. It is what it is. I mean, they don't talk about Jon Stewart. They don't talk about Black Lightning. They don't talk about Black Panther. They don't talk about Mr. Terrific. We do, but they don't. Am I going to be mad because they don't? No, it's not their responsibility. It's my responsibility. It's Black comic lords' responsibility. It's Black superheroes' responsibility. It's our community that's supposed to be championing that. It's not somebody else's responsibility. So for that guy to feel that way, can I really be mad about it? No. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. Yeah. So, give me Rodney Barnes. Give me Chuck Brown. Give me Brandon Easton, Brandon Thomas. Kevin Greavy. We got plenty of writers out here that writing good stuff, but everybody's that's writing is not good. That I agree with. Some stuff be like, man, I just wasted my money. I just wait, and again, he's not talking about, new characters. Because that's the thing. Everybody said they want new characters, but nobody creates them. DC's not in the business of creating new characters. Marvel is not in the business of creating new characters. They don't want to. You know why? Because it takes too much time and effort to build up a new character. So it's up to independent creators to make that happen. We want independent Black superheroes. You want superheroes? You want Black superheroes. Listen, I'm not interested in buying another Val Zod comic book. I said it. I'm not interested in buying another legacy character comic book. I said it. Shout out to all my Miles Morales fans. I'm not interested. Now, will I buy a Miles Morales comic book? Absolutely. If I'm entertained, if I'm interested in. Now, there are guys who are Miles Morales fans. Shout out to my man Amir. He's one of the biggest Miles Morales fans that I know. And that character has grown. They finally got somebody on that understands the character. I want Cody Ziegler to grow his rogues gallery a little bit more. But yes, there are people that are capable. But everybody that's writing Spider-Man, there are like 20 Batman titles. There's like 10 Superman titles. There's like 2 or 3 Wonder Woman titles. It's too much. Everybody's not going to be good. Eric says it feels like Jack Kirby created all the new characters and everybody stopped. Everybody else stopped trying. Yeah. She said, what would you like to see? Just asking. Me personally, here's my guy. Black Lightning is my favorite superhero character. I would like to see Black Lightning in his own title. I've been shouting. You can ask anybody in here, Rosetta. Anybody that knows me knows that Black Lightning is my guy. That's my favorite character. First time I saw that book in 1977, I was like 8, 9 years old. Blew my mind when I first saw that cover of the first Black Lightning book. Been in love with that character since. Nobody cares about Black Lightning. Nobody cares about an Olympic school teacher, right, who lives in the hood and fights for his hood. Too relatable. But no, we want these characters that fight in the cosmos and in the heavens and all over the place. Just give me my superhero. I want my Black Batman. So that, for me, is Black Lightning. I want Black Lightning to get some shine. I want to read a Black Lightning story. Because guess what? When a Black Lightning story, you get a Black family, you get Black superheroes, thunder and lightning, you get a lot that goes with that. That's what I want to see, me personally. Now, I read, my favorite comic book is Philadelphia. I love that comic book. I enjoy reading different superhero books when they come out. I mean, Batman's not the only superhero comic book that I will buy. I will buy a Falcon book. I wish they would just give Sam Wilson the Falcon mantle back and be done with it. I am just not impressed or moved by him being Captain America. That's me personally. That's me personally. I want Black Falcon. That's what I want. James says Philip Kennedy Johnson is writing Jon Stewart, and he's made a subtle mention of Stewart's legacy as a black man, but he hasn't beaten anyone over the head with it. Plus, he added Steel. Yeah. I mean, I love Steel. I love, Jon Stewart. I love those characters. And I will buy those books. And see, for me, I don't have an issue going to the shop. You know why? Because I got 15,000 comic books. I have a collection of books to read and that kind of thing. I'm not crying over diversity and things of that nature. Do I want things for my children's children and that kind of thing? Absolutely. But for me personally, I have a lot what I want. Kellega says, I'm starting to get into Philadelphia. Man, look here. Philadelphia, that's a bad book. That's a bad meaning good. That is a very, very good book. Rodney Barnes, I mean, he got something special. I'm telling you, right? That we talk sometimes, but that might actually be the new Walking Dead. When he really gets that thing to screen, people get to see it. I'm telling you. Yeah. Philadelphia is an amazing horror comic. And I like horror comics too, so yeah. Thank you. Appreciate that, Rosetta. Love hearing your words you share about your favorite. Yeah. I love. Here's the thing about me. And I'll tell this story. There was a guy in our community that was making a critique of Steel, right? And in essence, he basically said that we shouldn't support Steel or we shouldn't collect Steel because he was written by a couple of white people and this, that, and the third. And I just responded to him and said, I'm going to still collect Steel because I like the character. The thought was to him, people thought that because his name was John Henry Irons or whatever, that they were leaning too much into the folklore of John Henry. But none of them never read a Steel comic book. Okay, go back and find the first volume of Steel, and go get the Dennis Cowan, Christopher Priest story arcs. Pretty amazing. Okay, a black team on a black character book. People don't talk about Steel like that, but they listen. Representation, black artists, black writers, black creators are out here. We just got to find them and dig them. Those of you that want that kind of content for yourself. H&H hits is what a super chat. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. You know what to do, Derek. Yes. If you are here, please like the video. Please like, share, subscribe. And if you got a little change and you ain't strange, hit us with a super chat. Help keep the light on. It says, smooth approach. I'm currently into this Milestone returns lineup. Okay, that's what's up. Milestone, I'm not going to talk about Milestone, except to say that the original Milestone will always resonate with me. I love the original Milestone. Those stories were diverse. They were different. Dennis Cowan, Derek Dingle, all of those guys over there at Milestone, they put together something pretty amazing. And Milestone 2.0 is still catching up to that. The stuff that Dwayne McDuffie did with Icon, in my opinion, is timeless. The Blood Syndicate stuff, timeless. Here's the thing about the Blood Syndicate. The Blood Syndicate, all those books came back in the 90s, right? But the Blood Syndicate was the most diverse comic book probably put out at that particular time. The LGBTQ community was represented and was represented well. They let the characters be who they are. And when it comes to stories, I want the characters to be who they are. I don't want the writers to change the character. I want the character to be who they are. If the character is an a-hole, let the character be just that. But if you can write a story that's compelling, let me get that. And that's what I got with Milestone. Those characters, you didn't have to like all those. I didn't like some of those characters, but I didn't like them in a good way. I cared about those characters. I cared about how they thought about in the world. I cared about how messed up they were. But Dwayne McDuffie and those guys were unapologetic, and Ivan Velez, they were unapologetic in how they approached it, because they wanted people to recognize that these are human beings. The human story, regardless, I tell people, comics is a story about human beings. You could say that's a god, you could say that's a rat, you could say that's a goat, cat, whatever. It's based on the human experience. And the human experience has a right to be told in a masterful way. That's the thing about like the old literature books or whatever. The reason why people love Shakespeare is because Shakespeare, when you move away the English lit from it or whatever, the core of that story is the story of human beings. That's why you could have a story or a run like Sons of Anarchy. It'd be about a motorcycle gang, but it's really Macbeth with motorcycles. But that's how I see it. It's Shadows of Dakota was a really good story. I love Shadows of Dakota. Shout out to my man. I mean, to me, if they got some people over there, Milestone, with some sense, Eben should be having his own book, or at least a one shot or something, a miniseries coming to us pretty soon, because Eben really was the star of that Static run. He really, really was. That was an amazing, amazing book. James Thomas says he was created by Louise Simonson, created Steel, but she also created Apocalypse. Her husband Walt also drew Steel, one of my favorite Milestone characters, Hardware. Well, we got some story. We got some tea behind that there, James. We got some tea behind that. And matter of fact, Derek knows about that. We talked to one of the Milestone guys, and the influence, the Hardware was there. Yeah. Everything is not what they seem, ladies and gentlemen. That's all we can say. So yeah, man. So as far as this goes, man, I want us to just recognize that, as an art form, comics are getting their head handed to them by manga, because manga is focusing on story. I tell people that if you're leading with me, I'll say it like this. I remember when they started to talk about when the Star Wars people started to talk about the Acolyte, the new show that's getting ready to come out. And I told some people, matter of fact, I told people on the show that Star Wars is in trouble, because when they started talking about the story, or not the story itself, or about the franchise itself, about the story arc itself, they didn't talk about the story. They led with, this is the most diverse cast that anyone in Star Wars has ever seen. That's what they were leading with. That smelled just like they did when they did the Eternals promo. People didn't talk about the Eternals, the story itself, the movie itself. They were saying, oh, this is the most diverse cast anyone has ever seen, even though it was full of race swaps and gender swaps. It had all this stuff in it, all these different diverse people in it, and the story was terrible. That didn't help diversity at all. What good is diversity if you're going to tell a trash story? I'm just saying. I'm all for diversity, but if the story's trash, what can we do with that? No one's going to talk about it. No one's going to remember it. No one's going to remember. We need stories that are impactful, that stay with you. It's like eating cupcakes. I said earlier, these comic books, you can read a comic book literally in 10 minutes. Back in the day, you'd have a 32, 48 page comic book. It would take you a minute to read that thing. Now these comic books are quick, fast, in a hurry. That's why people are upset. They spending all this money, and the story is not good. You need 3-4 issues to really understand where the story is going, and people try to bail them out and say, "Oh, they're building, they're world building." How much world building do you need? Amazing Fantasy 15, the first story, first appearance of Spider-Man. That comic book is 15 pages. 15 pages. Don't talk to me about you need all of this for story world building. Please. And today, one of the biggest commentaries today is that I've heard is that if a person is focused on the story, right, they'll get accused of being too wordy. I'm an old school nerd. Nerds used to have to be smart. Remember when nerds had to be smart? Remember when nerds had to really look when you was reading a comic book, Fantastic Four comic book, Iron Man comic book, or whatever comic book it was, you had to look up some of the words because you didn't really understand some of the stuff that you were reading. You had to your vocabulary naturally grew because you were reading something that was building your brain, that was building your vocabulary. That was the purpose of comics. Comics don't even have that modus operandi now. They don't have that MO anymore. They're not interested in bringing new readers to the scene. That's why manga's killing them. Killing them. And again, it's like, it's not hard. It's not hard for them to make the adjustment, but they got to course correct, but they refuse to. I mean, and again, I if I'm gonna go buy, like if you go buy manga, you pay $7-8 for a manga, but you got a whole volume of story. You got a whole volume of story. You get a whole complete story arc. People are gonna sign up for that. It's hard to get these kids into comic books because they read a comic book and like, okay, I'm done. What's next? Now you got to wait 30 days, 15 days, or however long it is before it get to a shop. I don't know. So you want stories that don't write for trades, but more self-contained books. I would like both, to be honest. Give me a one-shot. I'm here for a one-shot story, but also I want a story that if I'm reading a comic book, right, and your story is compelling, well, I'm really vested in the characters, and then you hit me with a cliffhanger, I'm good with that. But how many stories today do we get where it's not even really a cliffhanger? You read the book, you fold it, like, it was okay. I'm tired of okay comics. You know how many okay comics I got in my collection? Okay comics. It's like buying a brand new car. You drive it off the showroom floor and it depreciates in value. As soon as I picked up the comic book, pay $4-5 for it. It's not even worth half price. I just want more value for my money. That's it. At this point, I want volume. I mean, listen, John Jennings wrote Ghostlight, Silver Surfer Ghostlight, created a new cosmic character, right? It was a 5-issue, I think 5 or 6 issues, but I bought every issue. But I remember reading it and then finishing it and asking myself and thinking to myself, this would fare better to be read in one setting. And some stories should be collected like that. I'm a floppy guy, but as time has worn me out in terms of what I'm paying for these comic books, I want more trades just because I'm tired of paying $5-6 for a cute cover. And that's all it's going to be in my collection is a cute cover, but it's not a story arc that I'm going to go back and revisit. You go back and somebody brought up, I think, Frank Miller earlier. Frank Miller, Daredevil, Frank Miller's The Dark Knight Returns. There's nothing better, okay? Yeah. I'm just saying, guys, we pay a lot of bread for these books. They need to be good. Kobe said, I think they're just using diversity to take hits. They can write good stories with diversity, but they don't want to. Kofi, I 100% believe that. One of the biggest gripes is the lazy writing. Lazy writing. As I said earlier, I remember when nerds had to be smart. As kids, we were entertained. We're reading this literature, right? We're reading this literature and we're having to think about what's being written along with what's being viewed as pictures. These weren't just picture books. Some of us got our critical thinking skills from comics. Some of us got our worldviews from comics. Some of us got our mindset from comic books. We don't realize how much time we spend with these books and how they shape our thoughts. Because again, a lot of times, especially for a guy like myself, I had no one to read these books with, no one to share these books with. I was the only guy. And so I had friends that read comic books, but they didn't read them like I did. But now I can sit up and talk about story arcs. I can talk about, which is the best Black Panther run. Is it Christopher Priest's The Client? Or is it Ta-Nehisi Coates' first run or his second run? How do I feel about the Intergalactic Empire of Wakanda? All of these different, back in the day, I couldn't do that. He said, oh, X-Men issue 3 by Chris Carroll, one page took a day to read. Yeah, gotta think. we were being challenged to think. That's the deal. The smooth process, I see more card players at the shop. That's comics, though. Comics are not selling no more. Comics are starting to become like the back wall of a video. Remember the video? You go to a video rental place and you rent a video to watch. This is shout out to my youngsters. Back in the day, we used to go rent VHS tapes, right? And you go in the shop and you see these pictures of all these different movies you can rent, right? And in the back, they had the porno section. And they had a little wall. That's what comics are becoming. Comics are being pushed to the back of the wall. Nobody wants them. But it's not that nobody wants them. It's just that they're not selling like they used to. They're not selling like they should. A comic book owner, shop owner, has to figure out a way to bring people into a shop. And comic books are not doing it today. They're just not. Cyan Quad says, I'd say World's Finest is written for new readers and have self-contained stuff. Only 1 or 2 characters have stories in between the comics. World's Finest is great. Written by Mark Waid? Yeah, World's Finest is pretty good run. Pretty good run. There's some good stuff out here, guys. Everything is not trash, but there's a lot of trash. There's a lot of trash out here. We're going to keep it real. Avengers issue 7 took 6 minutes to read. So yeah, man, look, bro. Who wants to read a book that's only going to take him that long to read? I sit down with the book, read it, and be like, man, that was a waste of my time. Or it didn't do anything for my mind. It didn't push me. It made me really think about things. When's the last time y'all read a comic book that made you think? Editorial and publishing needs to change. There's a reason something is killing the children. World's Finest, YA, and Transformers, etc. are selling more. Oh yeah, shout out to my man Amir. Amir loves Transformers. He said Transformers is dope. So yeah. So look, what we're gonna do now? I'm gonna ask Derek. Please hit the like button. I'm gonna ask Derek to hit the take us to commercial. Pick whatever, Derek. Give us a minute to just kind of reset. We're going to come back and we're going to talk to you guys about whatever's on your mind, any questions you may have, thoughts, concerns. We're going to talk to the chat for a minute, and then we're going to get out of here. So just, hey, Derek, take us to commercial break, and we'll be right back, guys. We're going to talk to the chat. So whatever you got on your mind, line your questions up or your comments. We're going to get into it.
What's up, everybody? It's your boy Danny J. Quick here with Ace Blade Comics. We got 6 issues of Ace Blade, 1 through 6. The 7th one is now live on Kickstarter. We can definitely use your support. We also have titles like Scarlet Ranger 1 and 2, created by Roland Lamb. We got Harlem's Renaissance and the Ballad of the Black Rose. And we got Lumberjacks 1, 2, and 3, which is about an Ethiopian prince who is displaced, and he has this necklace that gives him superpowers that he inherited from his grandfather. But he has to go through several trials to unlock the powers and abilities. So definitely check us out. You can find us at Fourth Wall Productions, fourthwallpros.com, and like I said, on Kickstarter right now. So I appreciate y'all, Black Comic Boys. Thank you for the support, and thanks for doing the right thing for the community.
Batman, Shadow of the Bat, number 5, written by Alan Grant and drawn by Norm Breyfogle, is a tragic story. The story surrounds a vigilante called the Black Spider, a man on a mission to destroy peddlers of heroin. Batman attempts to stop him, but he stops Batman in his tracks, not with superpowers or magical feats. He stops Batman simply with the truth. Batman's code of honor, which will not allow him to kill, flies in the face of the death the Black Spider sees. The Black Spider, though, isn't some mysterious character with a noble mission. No, his name is Eric Needham, and he was once a slave to the needle. Eric Needham's mission is personal. His former life has affected his former love and son. And while Batman is trying to stop him from murdering addicts, the Black Spider reminds Batman that we're all addicted to something. This thought haunts Batman because it has a ring of truth to it. Unfortunately, those same addictions can cost all of us our lives and the ones closest to us. If you like this video, please like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, peace.
Yo, thank you, Derek, for bringing us. Derek, I want to shout out my producer, Derek. Imperious Flex, always in the building, keeping us up to date on all the good stuff. And as you see, you know, we do a little bit of everything. We love independent Black creators. We working out here. It's a slow boogie, y'all. So y'all pray for us. Also support us. You know, like I said, please like this video. Please hit the like button. You know, just hit the like button. If you got a little change, please donate. Help us keep the lights on. But yeah, we appreciate all your support and your presence just being here. You could be anywhere, but you're hanging out with your boy, so I thank you. Eric says, I mostly get trades and graphic novels now. It is cheaper in the long run and they look good on the bookshelf room. Yeah, I 100% agree with that, because ain't nothing like walking around dragging a bunch of long boxes. Ooh, that gets old. But what I recently did is I've actually transitioned all of my long boxes into small boxes. I'm not a spring chicken, and so hauling long boxes into my storage unit is not fun. So yeah. I've managed to do all of that, so all I have now is long boxes. And what I'm doing currently, as far as my projects is concerned, is I'm documenting every comic book in every box. So I have CLZ, which is what I use to document as far as comics that I have, but can I lay my hands on a certain book? Nah, that's been a problem. So it's like, if somebody was to ask me, I need, you know, Green Arrow Volume 2, Issue 1, do you have it? And I'm like, well, yeah, I got it. I just got to find it. You know, how will I find it? So I've been slowly but surely cataloging it, and I have it all done electronically, but I keep a physical copy. This, my brothers and sisters, is my comic book inventory. So I have every book, every book, every comic book, every box, physical in my hand. I am old school for real. Shout out to my man Paul with the super chat. Thank you, sir. Let's So, Kofi asked a question. He says, "Are you reading the Harriet book? Harriet Tubman, Demon Slayer? Absolutely, love it, love it. Great book. Enjoying that. Blurred forever. Hey, thank you, sir, for the super chat. Now we rolling. Now we rolling.
Donation. It's a donation. I thought it was the trash. Don't be hitting on me.
Thank you.
Okay, so he asked about the DECU. So, Man of Steel would be number one for me. Number two, top six. Is it six movies really? Excuse me. You know what? If we're going now, I'm old school. Let me go back. That's not number one is Superman, the original Superman movie. The original Superman movie, with Christopher Reeve. That's my number one. Number two will be Man of Steel. Number three would probably be The Dark Knight Returns. Number four would probably be Batman Rises. Number five would probably be Justice League, the Snyder Cut. And number six, I'm gonna go with Black Adam. I'm gonna put The Rock in there just for effort. He's the biggest cosplayer in the DCU. So yeah, there we go. Eric says, I'm building a wooden comic book file to store my floppies. Yeah. So let's see what we got. Disappointing hair wasn't at my local shop. Smooth approach, pre-order. Go to your shop owner and say, hey, I want that book. They will order it, but you got to request it. Listen, here's the truth about our books, ladies and gentlemen. Here's the truth about our books. These people they want to make money. We want the books at the stores, but they're not going to order the books unless we request them. We have to go to them and say, hey, I want this book, put it on my pull list. They will order it. You may be the only person in your shop, in your area, in your neighborhood, in your city that might want to read that book. But if you tell your LCS guy, I want this book in the shop, I want to order it, they will order it for you. Pre-order. We preach that. We preach that here. We want you guys to be able to get your books, because guess what? Everybody's not going to order the Harriet Tubman Demon Slayer. Everybody's not going to order The Antagonist. Everybody's not going to order Acolyte by Concrete Comics. We have to request this stuff. We have to put in our request. Squeaky wheel get the oil, baby. That's how it go. Are you looking forward to Ultimate Black Panther by Brian Hill? Absolutely. Brian Hill? Blade Brian Hill? Oh, yes, sir. I'm looking forward to that. Yes, sir. I'm looking forward to that. Tron World, what up? Peace and power to all the attendants. Thank you, sir. Appreciate you. Thank you for the super chat. Let's hit him. Let's go. Yeah, appreciate Tron World. Thank you, sir. Thank you for the super chat. So, Eric says, yes, that's true, Rich. I have a few books on my pool that I had to specifically request because they weren't at the shop. My man Paul says his top six movies is Superman, The Dark Knight Returns, Superman 2, Number 5, Wonder Woman. I forgot to put Wonder Woman in there, but I guess Wonder Woman would be like right there, like 5 or 6. But I generally love The Rock. I love the you know. Some people had a problem with Hawkman being black. I didn't, so I think Aldous Hodge did his thing in the movie. But yes, I like Hawkman, period. So I wasn't tripping. Matter of fact, if you want a good run to read, the last Hawkman volume, it's like 29 books. But the last volume that came out, written by Venditti, I want to say, that was a pretty amazing run. You don't have to really be the biggest Hawkman DC guy to enjoy that run. That run was pretty good. Tronwell says comics need to be more accessible in the community. Those stores near schools are the hot spots. I agree. 100%. I will tell you guys that one of the things that you can do is you can request that your libraries put graphic novels in your libraries. Use the libraries, guys. If you're not sure you want to buy a volume of a comic book or graphic novel, go to your library and see if they got it. That way you can read it, check it out, and if you want to add it to your collection, you can. Kofi says, the Ministry of Compliance by Ridley looks good. Always pre-order Black books. The Ministry of Compliance, brother, that's a good book. That's a heavy book. Matter of fact, that's a thick book. You sit down and read that now. My man Paul, who is head of the cult of Boss, he probably ain't gonna mess with it because, yeah, Johnny Law, he didn't like Johnny Law's last Black Panther. He didn't like it. He still calls him the outlaw. So yeah. So let's see. My comic shop has almost nothing. Yeah. Eric says Hawkman has always been confusing to me. He's just a character I tapped out on. Yeah. I mean, see, there's two different, I would say, stories when it comes to Hawkman. There's the story with Carter Hall as the reincarnated character from Egypt and that kind of thing. There's that, there's a couple of different retcons or story arcs. But Hawkman, for the most part, Hawkman as a cop has been pretty cool. Tony Isabella wrote Hawkman back in the 80s. And that's a pretty good run if you really want to just dig into Hawkman a little bit from back in the day. So Isabella's run on Hawkman is something that you might want to look at. Jameer Kane says, I wouldn't know about Ministry of Compliance. Black Boy says, Versus says, I would like to see Tribe return. Listen, hey, shout out to my man. The guys from Tribe hit us up. We don't always know who's in our spaces on Facebook. And the guys from Tribe were in our space recently. And I posted a Tribe issue 2 second print comic book. Very rare. And matter of fact, the copy that I have is so rare that both Johnson and Larry Stroman, signed this copy of this book. And one of the guys was like, do you want to sell it? And I was like, I didn't know what to say to that, to be honest, because it's rare for sure. Shout out to my man, Willie Cordy. Willie tried to get that book out of my collection for close to a year. And I'm like, no. And I think Willie finally got himself a copy. But yeah, shout out to Tribe. Tribe is one of those glimmers from the 90s that still, the art, the comic story, it's still pretty cool, man. I mean, that was a fun time. The 90s was something else, man. I mean, it went down in the 90s. It went down in the 90s. It could go down right now with this renaissance or this. There's a lot of Black creatives, artists, and writers out here that's doing work. I want to stress that we know that they're out here working, and we know that they're out here trying to make some things happen, you know. But the 90s, man, ooh, I wish we could go back and just like go back in time and just like revisit some of that stuff. And me and Imani Latif, we talked about some of the stuff that was going on back in the day with Milestone and Anaya Publishing, and among others that were, you know, man, it was like East Coast, West Coast beef. It went down for sure. So yeah. The best Hawkman story is the Rand Thanagar War. That was the best run. Yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty good, no doubt. So hey, I dig that shirt. Where can I get one? So this here is a custom-made shirt. My man Winston's Wham. If you go to Facebook, Winston's Wham, just type in Winston's Wham. It should come up. Winston's Wham's t-shirt. My man Jay Napoleon Winston did this customized shirt for me. And that's what he does. He does that. He sells comics too. He's one of the biggest collectors in our space. If you're looking for Eben, well, he's not selling Ebens anymore. But I think he's got like 12 or 13 Eben comics, one of the most rarest comics in the world. But yeah, Winston's Wham. Just look him up and hit him with an email direct message, and he can make it happen for sure. Blur says, I have 3 issues of Tribe somewhere. I have actually, there's really, there's actually 4 issues of Tribe. There's a issue 0, then there's 1, of course, and then there's 2, and then there's 3. But they have the ash can version. I have an ivory version of issue 1. I have an ash can version of issue 1 that's blue. That's light blue, I want to say. I have that. And so, yeah. Tron said, don't get me started, Rich. Yeah, that's what's up. So anyway, what else we got, y'all? What else we got? So yeah, Dirk, if you want to, hit him up, he can make that happen for you. But yeah, this is my, Black Lightning. I love Black Lightning as a character. Always have. So yeah. Said my LCS trades Batman, Miles Morales, Miss Marvel, Spawn, and Superman sell the most. Spawn, I love Spawn as a character. Spawn universe is pretty dope. The best Spawn runs right now, I think, are happening. I've enjoyed, like I said, somebody asked me a question last week about, what I felt my best Spawn story arcs are, and I mentioned issues 1 through 30. Those first 30 issues of Spawn were incredible. Now, don't get me wrong, there've been other stuff like, there's a story arc that I think called Real Horror. That Jason Sean Alexander did the covers for Todd McFarlane for a while. And which is weird, what I'm saying? It's like a full circle moment because now Spawn is in Philadelphia, and Jason Sean Alexander is doing the covers as he always does. So it's almost like a full circle moment. But yeah, so I love Spawn. Spawn does the thing. Eric says the 90s had a huge surge of fun comics. I really like the publisher parody press. They made a parody of everything in their books. So funny to me. Yeah, I mean, sometimes you need a fun comic book. You just need sometimes you just want to read a fun book. You know what I'm saying? Just you don't have to make a whole lot of sense. Just, entertain me. I'm easily amused, that kind of deal. So yeah. It's comics, man. Frustrated. What up? For my bros, and sorry, Paul, if they didn't let you ship alcohol in the mail unless you're a company that sells alcohol. I remember that. So yeah, you wasn't able to, they wouldn't let you ship it. Oh, sad day in Gotham. Thank you, Frustrated, for the super chat, though. Yep. That's what's up. Thank you. Appreciate that, man. So yeah, I mean, comic books are supposed to be fun, so they were initially called funny pages. But man, I got something in the not in the mail. It said, did you read Midlife OG? I still need to pick it up. Yeah, actually, I just finished reading issue 3 yesterday. Yeah, I'm still reading it. What would you do if you're a superhero and you're about 50 years old? What would life be like as a superhero at 50 years old? Yeah, this is a story called Midlife. It's an Image title, and it's pretty entertaining. Um, it's for the if you're easily amused, you'll enjoy it. I'll say it like that. But yeah, that's a fun read too. I love Midlife. It's pretty cool. Alfred says I sent y'all a PDF of blowtorch bad rolls and never heard back. It's a possibility, Alfred, that got misplaced or whatever. The guys, I think Derek respond to it. He's gonna check it out. We'll look for it. And apologies, if you guys hit us up in the with an email or whatever, we don't get to you guys. It's not that we ain't trying. We're busy. We live busy lives, y'all, and we do this for fun. And so sometimes stuff sinks through the cracks. He says, "What do you think about Mark Millar leaving Image and going to Dark Horse?" I honestly think that's a lateral move, if that makes any sense. I don't think he's going to get anything at Dark Horse that he didn't get in Image, other than that, Dark Horse is hit and miss at times. Image is almost flawless. And the only reason why I say it's almost flawless is in that most people that are at Image are at Image because they want to be at Image. It's not like they're trapped into any deal or anything, because Image is one of those companies where you can take your IP, your intellectual property with you. You can go with it. It's not like he has to leave anything. So for him, they probably came to him with a deal comparable or a little bit better than what he was getting at Image. So, good for him, man. I mean, I enjoy his Prodigy stuff. So, we'll see what happens. I don't know if he's going to do another volume of Prodigy, but I definitely enjoyed the Lazarus. I think that was the name of it, the Larry story arc he did, like last 6 issues. Tron says, have a blessed and powerful week, everyone. Peace, my brother. The Blowtorch is a hard book to get. I pre-ordered it and still haven't received the first issue. I may have to stop using my LCS to get the books. I mean, frustrated. I don't know what to tell you, bro. Sometimes the best thing to do, I would say, is if possible, always get a previews book. Most of the stuff that comes out on comics comes through previews. Not everything. Independent books or whatever, that's hit or miss. Everything that's independent doesn't go through previews, but a lot of its stuff does. Another site that you may use, Things of Another World, comes to mind. Anyone here read Little Rock Files yet? I have not found it. That's been my issue. Blur Forever hits us with another super chat, and he asks, do you think we'll get an ongoing Blue Marvel book? Well, we're going to hit you with the super chat. Thank you first, and then we'll... Yes, so will we get an ongoing Blue Marvel book? I hope so. More than that, I pray that they let Kevin Greavy write it. I don't know if he would want to. Paul says nope. And that's probably closer to the truth. People that don't know, for those of you that don't know, Blue Marvel was created by Kevin Greavy. And Kevin Greavy, we know, is an esteemed, comic book writer, actor, extraordinaire, that kind of thing. Has his own imprint, Darkstorm comic, but he's also responsible for I, Frankenstein, the Underworld franchise, among other things. I mean, I love that dude. It's amazing. But I would love for him to get another shot at Blue Marvel. as Paul kind of said, that's probably not going to happen. For whatever reason, they want to reduce him to being a team player, whatever, if that's the Defenders or, man, he hadn't been, I would like to see him in an Avengers book. He hadn't been in an Avengers book in a minute, but, you know, Blue Marvel is an op character, overpowered, and no one knows what to do with him because the guy that created him is not writing the book. And that's unfortunate. Blue Marvel will only get a book if he gets put on the MCU. Yeah. And Eric says Kevin Greavy's Darkstorm is basically his rendition of Blue Marvel. And that's good. I'm glad that he has the ability to do that. But man, I love that character, the original Blue Marvel character. Now, I was at Ollie's today, and I saw a Blue Marvel Legends action figure. And I picked it up to just look at it because I don't collect action figures. I collect Funko Pops, but I don't do the action figures. Not my ministry. So I picked it up and I saw it, you know what I'm saying? And he had the Parker vest on, and I'm like, man, why don't y'all give my man his cape? Give my man his cape back. Give him his cape back. Matter of fact, give him his helmet back. I want the full OG regalia Blue Marvel. I want to see that dude, you know. But I don't know if that's ever going to happen again. Don't know if that's going to happen. Blurred Forever says, thank God for Rodney Barnes. Yeah. Rodney Barnes is doing his thing, man. Not Matty. Now, Frustrated says, I don't think when people say it's wordy, they're talking about how much narration talk is going on in the book, not the intellectual stuff that pushes the story forward. Probably. I just know that if I'm gonna read a comic book, I want you to at least try to, and if you're trying to be intellectual, then do it. Rodney Barnes' Philadelphia is written in a way to make you think about certain things. Even though it's a book about vampires and werewolves or whatever, a lot of the stuff that's in that book is relatable in the sense that, you know, we struggle with things like hope. We struggle with things like relationships. And, you know, he writes them in such a way that, you know, it makes you think. You know, we interviewed Rodney Barnes, and one of his goals or one of his thoughts that he would love to do is a Swamp Thing book. And I really want them to give that dude, I want DC to give that dude a shot at Swamp Thing. I think he could do something pretty amazing. Because the original Swamp Thing is written in such a way where, you know, it's very, very introspective. So, yeah. So I don't think they want heat from DC because he looked like buff Dr. Hey, whatever, man. I like my man's blue and white. And listen, I would not be mad at that. They can do a crossover. I'll be good with that. Dr. Fate versus Blue Marvel. Sign me up. Pericles says, give him the cape back, but leave the helmet off. Yeah, okay. Yeah, either way. The best way to intro Blue Marvel is the Fantastic Four movie that takes place in the late 60s. I agree. And that's the other part, too. How they would bring him in. I'm a canon guy, which means that I would rather see what's going on in the comics take place in the movies. But this is Marvel we're talking about. Matter of fact, let's give a moment of silence to the MCU. Yeah. But yeah, so we'll see. We'll see what happens. Yeah. Appreciate that, Mark. Yeah. That would be good. I would be here for that. I would be here for a Fantastic Four back in the 60s. Man, that would be pretty cool. That would be pretty cool. Paul says stop. Why? Why, Paul? Why, Paul? Why you got a problem? Why you got a problem with that, man? That would be cool, bro. That would be cool. They got to figure out how to find Monica. They got to figure out how to bring Monica Rambeau back. Zerka says Denzel is Mr. Fantastic. Yeah. He said, "Now I think the best way to do a Blue Marvel story is with Isaiah Bradley and the Super Soldier story arc." Wow, man. Well, I tell you what. You know what? I thought everybody liked Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I found out recently everybody didn't like Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I saw some people go in on that show recently, and they had merits. I'm not gonna act like they didn't have merits, but I just thought, I enjoyed it thoroughly. You know what I'm saying? But some people had problems with it. That would be too much. America ain't ready for that. Yeah, maybe. They say America not ready for a lot of stuff. I don't believe that. I believe that people are smarter than you think, and people enjoy good storytelling. And anybody who says that they didn't like Adam the Legend of Blue Marvel is just intellectually being dishonest, because that's one of the best modern stories ever written in Marvel. And y'all running out of story arc, because once y'all get past the Secret Wars, which is supposed to come out in 2027, what y'all gonna go from there? What's coming after Secret Wars? I know people said this is the reset, but what's coming after it? What's coming after it? If you bring mutants in, how are you gonna bring the mutants in? What's the story arc gonna be? That kind of thing. It's a lot. Troy Graham says, hearing Simmons from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. be great as Blue Marvel. Yeah. Paul says, people are stupid rich. You know what? Let me tell you something. I said the word stupid I was teaching some kids in my church, and I used the word stupid. And they rebuked me right there. They said, "You can't say that word. You can't say that word." I was like, "Well, I can't say stupid." No. I was like, "Why? That's a mean word." I was like, "Wow, our kids are learning that words like stupid are mean."
What you talking about?
They were the last when I was going to school. You get called stupid, dumb, dunce. Crazy, isn't it, huh? But yeah. So anyway, that was funny. Bitterroot is amazing also, looking for the next storyline. Yeah. I mean, they need to bring it back. I don't know what's going on. Amir asked me about that, and I'm like, man, them dudes ain't saying nothing. David Walker ain't saying nothing. Chuck Brown ain't saying nothing. Sanford Green ain't saying nothing. I don't know what they doing. I don't know if they just biding their time or what, you know what I'm saying? But they definitely need to bring it back. Shout out to Mark Robinson for the super chat. He says, in my opinion, Fantastic Four is dated, so put them back where they were more relevant in the late 60s. I'm not mad at that.
Donation. It's a donation. I thought it was the trash. Don't be hitting on me.
Thank you.
I got a question. Would you guys be interested in reintroducing T'Challa? Now, we know T'Challa's been part of the MCU, but let's say that they reboot the MCU, right? And they bring T'Challa back. Would y'all be interested in bringing T'Challa back through the Fantastic Four? To Mark's point about them coming out in the 60s. Would y'all be here for that? Just a question. Paul says, you know what's the mean word? Illiteracy. Yeah, bro. Herschel says, Blue Marvel needs some help. His action figures that every Ross falling off the shelves. People ain't buying his action. Listen, I told you, I saw the Blue Marvel action figure at Ollie's. Yeah. Eric says, how is Fantastic Four dated? X-Men Inferno. Okay, I'm gone again. Shout out. What up? Peace, brother. Peace, Tron World. Eric says, nah, not like that, but definitely bring T'Challa back. Yes, I would want the real T'Challa found to be in the MCU. Frustrated said that would force Marvel to go with an already written story. They won't do that. I don't know what's going on in Marvel, man. I don't know what's up with the people at Marvel, bro. Kobe says, bring him back in a modern story setting. Recast T'Challa all day over here. Modern, late, early, just bring T'Challa back, okay? Just bring Black Panther back. Please. Troy Grant says, truth be told, we should get with some of this Black-owned independent companies and start our own Black superhero network or streaming service. I think that guys are doing that. There's a place called Blurred TV. I don't know how much superhero stuff they do. There are people doing things, but they're kind of like small. That's the thing about startups and that kind of thing. It takes a long time to get stuff done. Troy, and that sounds like a great idea. I mean, sign me up for that. You know what I'm saying? It's just a matter of who's going to do it, who's going to take the patience, who's going to do the legwork. Because I'm going to tell you, man, infrastructure, developing the brand and those kind of thing at Black Comic Lords, I can tell you, it is not easy. It is a thankless job. A lot of days it is a thankless job, but I definitely feel what you're saying. Bot Boy versus says nope, but he definitely needs to return. Though I checked out the MCU when they didn't recast him. I checked out. Yeah. I'm still trying to wrap my head around that whole situation, but it is what it is, man. It is what it is. Eric Guapo says, good evening, everyone. Great stream tonight. Have a blessed week. You do the same too, sir. We can try to stand on all fronts when it comes to T'Challa, pushing them in back into the MCU, making sure that the runs that are being done are very, very, thought-provoking, because most Black Panther books are pretty cool. There has not really been a bad Black Panther run. Jack Kirby's Black Panther was a very hard read. But other than that, most of the Black Panther stuff has been pretty amazing. And Dr. Ewing is doing a great job, I think, with the character. I know a lot of people want her to go ahead and make him king. Give us some time. Give it some time. Give it some time. Let's do a prequel for Black Panther with King T'Chaka. I know that people, that would be kind of cool. I know people were running around here talking about it one time, Bashinga, trying to do a movie or a show for Bashinga. I know people that was like the big thing around on the internet at one time. And I think that would be cool, but they need to get Black Panther, the prototype, the original guy. They need to get that guy straight before they try to do some other stuff. I'm in favor for them to do the other stuff. Y'all go ahead and do that, but y'all need to really bring this dude back into the MCU where he belongs. He did not, well, they did kill him on screen. Not on screen, but they did put the perception out that he was You know, I'm anticipating at some point somebody's going to write a book about that whole fiasco, and I will be buying it, and I will cover it on our channel. So yeah, talk about character assassination, man. But anyway, H&H asks, watch Bass Reeves yet, Rich? No, I have not. I have not watched a lot of TV. I have been extremely busy lately. I just started back watching, I think it's the Raising Cain Power series, but I have not had a chance to go and watch Bass Reeves. I just hadn't sat down to do it, man. And you would think with someone like myself who has a lot of Bass Reeves comics that I would, but I just have not been plugged in like that to, check it out. I need to get it. I saw something, matter of fact, on the internet about, I think it was an ad maybe for the show, but I remember seeing this like, man, I got to get caught up on that. I hadn't done anything with it. I mean, what did you got? I mean, have you been watching it? If so, what do you think about it? What do you think about it? He says, not a bad Black Panther run. Did you not read volume? I did read volume 8, Paul. No one's perfect. I said most. I didn't say all. And you're right. I do stand corrected. Volume 8 was problematic. Well, y'all ready to go to John Ridley's house and burn him out his house, man? It's gonna be all right, y'all. It's gonna be all right. We survived the Black Panther. You know what? We need to do a shirt, Paul. We need to do a shirt. Mark safe from John Ridley's Black Panther run. Y'all, don't y'all take that idea. But we need to work on that.
Oh my God!
Yeah, for real. Let's see. What else we got? Either Gangs of London, yeah. Like Bruce Salim for Raised by Wolves to T'Challa. Yeah. I mean, they could go with an unknown. I don't care. Just bring the dude back to screen. That's because to me, whoever they get or whatever, you know what I'm saying, the comparisons of him and Chadwick Boseman are gonna be there. Whoever's gonna sign up for that is gonna have to deal with that. It is what it is. But and I mean personally, if they went with like an unknown to like just kind of like get some new, fresh blood or whatever in the industry, whatever, most likely they'll wind up getting a British actor to do it. I don't know if they would get an actual African. I would be opposed to that. I think that would bring an authenticity in it by itself. But either way, you know what I'm saying, just bring that cat back to screen. Recast the job. So let's see. I watched the first Bass Reeves episode. Good so far. Okay, that's what's up. Yeah. But anywho, look, man, we 2 hours in, so I'm gonna go ahead and give the benediction. I pray that you guys have a wonderful week. We will be here, hopefully. Stay tuned. We may be here Wednesday night. Black Comic Lords, just for you guys that are here, Black Comic Lords is experimenting with a new show. And we want you guys to tune in Wednesday nights to check it out. And if it goes well, then you may see the whole squad here on Wednesday nights chopping it up about the books that came out and whatever you guys want to talk about. So stay tuned for that. Before we get out of here, though, want to bring you up to speed on what we've been doing. Recently, we just talked to our latest special was with Tim Fielder. The interview we did with him was a phenomenal interview. If you have not picked up the book Infinitum, I highly suggest that you go do that. Go get Matty's Rocket as well. You know what I'm saying? I'm probably going to at some point cop the hip hop book that he's done as well. But yeah, so you know about our lives, you know what I'm saying, Wakanda Whiskey and Blurtum. and of course your boy Rich. And Ladies Live is on hiatus. We will hopefully reintroduce that at some point. But until then, you got all this other content that you can check out. Talking to whether Dr. Jennings or the Ken Quattro specials. We've done a number of shows with Ken discussing unknown writers and artists from the 1940s. It's been very entertaining, and we have some more stuff coming up with Ken at some point soon. So yeah, we got that. And again, we've talked to Kevin Greavy and Tony Cottrell and Lonzo Starr. So Concrete, Advent Comics, a little bit of everybody, y'all. And of course, these are some of our other stuff. You can go back and check out, we had a conversation with Sebastian Jones, the Stranger Comics, and his character Niobe, among others, is a pretty amazing. And Rodney Barnes, of course, among others. And again, we try to, provide a plethora of content and different artist genres. The Shook guys, of course, pretty dope. Blur Forever said, cheerio from London. Respect. So yes. So you guys interviewed the writer for Nubia. Yes, we did. Yes. We out here working. We just need your support to keep doing what we're doing. We thank you for your presence. We thank you for your help. We thank you for your support. Thank you for just listening. You could have been anywhere else, but you hung out with your boy tonight. So for that, I thank you. With that said, I'm going to go ahead and give the benediction. And the word comes from Proverbs, the 16th chapter, verse number 7. It reads, when a person's ways please the Lord, he makes even his enemies at peace with him. From the stronghold that is Black Comic Lords and Black Superheroes Forever, it's your boy Rich. Until next time, we'll see you when we see you. And be careful. Remember, Wednesday night, check us out about 8-ish Central Standard Time. We're going to be talking with the squad. So stay tuned. Peace. See you when we see you.